It's Wandering Wednesday, boys and girls. I've got us set up for a real fun trip today. Today we are going to go underneath the water. Do you ever wonder what is beneath the water? Do you ever look at a lake or a pond or the ocean and think, what is down there? Maybe you've had the opportunity to see some things underneath the water. Before we go underneath the water on a little scuba trip, now scuba, boys and girls, is self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Basically, that's a fancy word for you got the right equipment so that you can go underneath the water. I want to show us some pictures of things that might happen if we go scuba diving, but before we do that, I want to show you some of the equipment that you need to have. In order to go scuba diving, boys and girls, you have to have the right equipment. Number one, you have to have a really good mask. Now, boys and girls, a really good mask covers your nose and lets you see out with your eyes. Maybe you, boys and girls, have tried a snorkeling mask. You also have to have a snorkel. Now, a snorkel lets you breathe if you are close to the top. Oftentimes, though, when you scuba dive, you're going down up to 100 feet deep, which is pretty far. 100 feet is pretty far. If you're going to go down super deep, you have to have extra special gear. You're going to see pictures of people with tanks of air on their back. And in order to breathe that air, you have to have a special tool called a regulator. This hooks onto the tank. This goes in the mouth, and then you can breathe. You sound a little bit like Darth Vader when you breathe, and you breathe the air in and out. And lastly, we have our masks and our snorkels and our regulator. You have to have fins, boys and girls. These help you go underneath the water. Ultra big feet makes you kind of like a duck, right? Or like a fish. You're going to see fins. And then you'll see people wearing very special vests. All this is like a tool belt, kind of like a tool belt where you can hook the tank on the back and you can be safe with extra weights. You have pockets for a few extra safety things. Notice on my vest I have a whistle. So in case anything ever happens and I'm above the water, you can actually hear if anybody needs help. I've never had to use the whistle. It's interesting that it tastes like salt. Clearly I didn't wash it all that well the last time I was underneath the water. Let me show you some pictures, boys and girls, of our daughters and I with all of our scuba gear on. You can see, here we are. That's Gretchen and Jennifer and myself, and we've got all of our gear on right. Do you see the snorkel? Do you see the mask? Maybe you see a special wetsuit that you wear. That wetsuit is there to help keep you warm. You see the fins we're going to put on when we get inside the water. You get an idea of all of the gear. And what happens is you go with trained people and then you jump in the water. And then very soon you get to go underneath the water. Let's go scuba diving. Here we are, boys and girls. We're scuba diving. Take a look, boys and girls. When you go underneath the water, do you wonder what you see? Do you wonder what it sounds like? I'm going to dive a little bit deeper, boys and girls. Let's see what we can find when we go scuba diving. Look, boys and girls, this is how it sounds. You can hear people breathing in and out of their tanks. Do you hear the breathing and the breath? Do you see the different corals? Corals, boys and girls, are plants that live underneath the water. And other fish live near those plants. It's kind of like walking through a forest. What about fish? Do you see some of the different fish, boys and girls? They're all different colors. All different bright colors and muted colors, and they swim all differently. There's a shark. Now, boys and girls, the sharks that I've ever seen, they really don't bother you. That's called the nurse shark. I've seen turtles before, different stingrays, but the corals are the most beautiful part, boys and girls. You get a good idea of where the other little fish and the big fish, how they all live. Isn't it great that we can not only wonder what happens beneath the water, but we can actually go, and maybe, boys and girls, when you get a little bit older, you could take classes to learn how to scuba dive too. Look at this. We see even different people swimming down through caves. Some of these water cliffs, they go down over 1,000 feet. Now, you can't go that deep as a scuba diver, but it does make you wonder what's down that deep, doesn't it? Scuba diving is one of the great hobbies that our daughters and I have together. My family, we're so fortunate we get to travel and we like to try to do different things. Oh, quick! Look, sometimes there's even ships that have been sunk. Now, most of the ships that we've seen are ships that have been sunk on purpose, and they cut out holes so that other fish can live inside those ships. This is the USS Kittiwake, boys and girls. Notice you can actually swim inside of it. It's a huge ship, and to be able to be near it when you scuba dive around it is a lot of fun too. When you scuba dive, boys and girls, you have to have a buddy. My daughters and I are some of my best buddies, and I've had lots of buddies. It's important to focus on safety, but you can be safe and have fun at the same time. Great leaders understand this, boys and girls. I'm going to start coming up. Great leaders understand, boys and girls, that when you wonder about things, you can learn about it. What do you wonder about? When you wonder about things, you can learn about them and experience them safely. I hope, boys and girls, that you get to learn about all the things that you want to do, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be a scuba diver too. We're going to have more scuba diving trips on our Wandering Wednesdays, I can just tell. Let's make it a great day, boys and girls. Remind ourselves to lead with paws. Maybe we need to lead with fins, because we know at Novi Woods, it takes teamwork to make the dream work.